Alrighty. So anyways, it started off mostly as like a dispatch meeting first. For really, I mean, troubleshooting auto dispatch in general. And as we had this meeting more and more times, auto dispatch smoothed out more and more, and we had many less issues or questions being brought up on the call. So definitely dispatch questions first, but really beyond that, we'll open it up for general industry questions, marketing questions, business questions. Doesn't have to be for us. Right now, you have myself and Emery from the DeliverLogic Deliver Club team. Um, Along with just a few clients at the moment, but typically people do kind of come and go on this call since we've got clients all across the country. Well, technically across the world, but mostly across the country. Um, and it's just, the time zone differences kind of lead to differences in schedule throughout the evening. So that's that. Feel free to say hey, introduce yourself, ask any questions you may have.
Hi, I'm Melissa from Time Beat, Arizona. I am having a few auto dispatch issues that I just can't quite figure out why it's making the decisions it's making. Is there any way I can kind of talk to you about
Yeah,
that a bit?
yeah, absolutely. I would love to provide some insight into that.
Awesome.
That's exactly what this call's for. So let's do
Okay.
it.
Okay, great. So today, my orders today are going to be a great example for some of the stuff that's been happening. So we normally only have one driver, just because we don't really have the volume quite yet. We get it here and there with the GFO now, but for the most part, we can have someone jump on. But most of the time, it's just going to be one driver signed in. And so today, for example, we had an order. It was let's see, order 241. And the driver was going to do the order, and then another order came in, and that order was about, it was like, I can't say how long after, but it did come in after the first one. And the due time on that one was actually before the first one. And so there was no way. Is that the right one? I'm sorry. I had a couple of them today. That was an issue.
Yeah, so we can definitely look at that. That's just an interesting one where there is little to no association between the items that you just spoke on, which I realize is very confusing.
Right.
And it's
Right.
been our goal to change that for a long time, but it
Right.
has not been changed yet, right? So, I
Yeah.
mean, there really is nothing. If your delivery fees are set up, and like, it's probably like, what do you mean my delivery fees are set up, right? But like, that is where the timing gets set, is you
Okay.
basically say from 0 to 3 miles, the time is this, from 3 to 7, it's that, whatever, right? I mean, you
Okay.
you can vary those tiers, but and I mean, so let me just you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
So, like, which one did you, say?
So for like that very first one there, 241, for example, that was the very first order that came. Oh no, I'm sorry, that wasn't. Well, yeah, that one
That would
actually.
have been the first one today, it
Yeah,
looks like. It was a
that was
future order for
that was the
11:45.
future order. Okay, yeah. So the future I had a bunch of them today that kind of went crazy. Okay, so for the first one, the future order, he was doing that one when the second one came in, and they were only seven. I think it was like 7 minutes apart, 8 minutes
Mm,
from the
correct.
time he had to drop the first one and get to and deliver the other one. And the restaurant is 18 minutes from where he was dropping it. So
Right.
I mean, he did pull it off because he was, early, but technically, I don't understand how they can expect how the auto dispatch would expect the driver to drop the food and then in 7 minutes get to the other restaurant that's 18 minutes away and then deliver it. So that's where it gets confusing. And then the other one, the 43 and 44, 43 came in. And then when 44 came in, it was due 2 minutes before 43, and they were nowhere near each other. They were about
Sure. And
20.
so I mean, when you said like we only have one driver on, I
Right,
almost said like we could just stop the conversation there, but I don't want to because that's the
right,
situation that you have right now, right?
right.
But I mean, I will definitely say like auto dispatch, 5 orders all coming in at lunch with
Yeah,
one driver.
right,
I mean, is it going to work out okay? Yes. Is it going to work out great? I mean, only if everything falls perfectly, right?
right,
Because the odds of that are just very slim. Like lunch, people usually order lunch. I mean, we can see that. I think these are great examples actually,
Mhm.
because like here you've got a couple people who order lunch pretty early, and here you've
Mhm.
got a couple people who order lunch pretty late, right? But like
Right,
people do tend to order, and like it's the same at dinner, right? People tend to
right,
order in clumps for sure,
right, right.
and so we're seeing that, and they're really so. uh, And I guess I would just like preface this with saying like if this is a scenario that you plan on having, we can put something in place to kind of combat this a little bit, right? So I'm going to show you that,
Okay.
but at the same time, like this wouldn't necessarily be a standard situation, I guess,
Right,
is
right.
the main thing I'm going to say. So, but the very confusing thing that leads to this is that there is no difference between so like this order right here, right? You mentioned this order is already here. It's due at 11:45. This
Right.
one comes in and it quotes. It looks like in this case it quoted 33 minutes, which is kind
Mhm.
of a weird amount of time, but I'm assuming based on the age being 34 and the due in being -1 that it was
Mhm.
probably 33 minutes. Um so like when we go into the restaurant, right? We're going to go to quick info, jump to the restaurant profile, and then look at the manage fees area. So like your base quote, you're never going to quote less than 30 minutes.
Mhm.
And then based on our mileage based fees, you quote 35 here, 45 here, 55 there. So this was going less than 2 miles. So it must have actually quoted 35 minutes, not 33. And just like those
Okay.
times were slightly off because of like the seconds that came into play.
Okay.
But like I don't want to say there's nothing, but there's nothing intelligent going into this. There's nothing to prevent you from say you have a restaurant that does nothing but deep dish pizzas. Their prep
Mhm.
time is going to be 45 to 60 minutes every single
Right.
time, right? But you could set this to 45 minutes and you could set this to 30 minutes. And you would
Okay.
be telling customers, "Hey, even though it takes them 45 minutes to make food, we're going to deliver it to you in 30 minutes," right?
Right.
So, there's definitely some confusion there, and
Right.
that's something we've dealt with for, like, a very, very long time, right? Is definitely
Right.
something that we're hope I would be very surprised if we don't get to this in Q1 of 2022.
Okay, great.
Um, like, our goal is to have some version of basically just automatic dynamic quotes, right? That would actually say, "Hey, when you've got your prep time, you've got your drive time to the customer, right? And then you've got what we would call like I typically refer to it kind of as an execution buffer, right? Which is
Okay.
like when our order to driver ratio is this, the RDS factor is 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, right? Because when your order to driver ratio is 1 to 1, the RDS factor might be 10 minutes, right? Because the driver's got to whatever, put on their shoes, get in their car, accept the order, drive, like, or it could actually be zero, possibly, if the RDS gets there before, or like if the driver gets there before the food's ready, right? Then the RDS factor actually becomes nothing. So that's kind of like the variable that would be adjusting based on the order to driver situation.
Okay.
Um, and in this case, like that is what would help your scenario, right? Because you do
Right.
need that order to driver ratio RDS execution buffer in place for this to work. So
Right.
that's kind of like the future vision for the setup, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, right now there really isn't a lot of intelligence that goes in there. Now, what I would say is this though. Okay, so we do have on the location, which I forgot, but we do have this really handy new stuff that I definitely should have used here. So you can actually maybe we should have made these buttons say like take me to the location or something.
Okay.
But we do have these kind of scattered throughout in the menus, the restaurants, the location can take you to the it's pretty cool now. So this instead of like previously I would have to be like, okay, let me go to the main dashboard, let me click on locations. We do have this now. So whatever restaurant I'm in, it will automatically take me to the location for that restaurant.
Oh, nice.
So now we're here, which is cool. And then yeah, you'll see here like this can take me back to the
Okay.
restaurants,
Yeah,
which
I
is cool
noticed
too.
those. Okay, cool.
Um, so that's what they do. It should say like take me to restaurants, take me to location, whatever, but the little things. Here we do have in the auto dispatch settings, which you will see that I do have some blue stuff. You can't see that, so don't wonder what that is basically. Like that is all just kind of back end management type stuff.
Okay.
But down here we have these automatic buffering, okay? And
Okay.
so the thing is that if you're really planning on having one driver on a regular basis, you need these times kicking in when that situation occurs, right?
Right.
So this is automatic buffering, and then there can be surge pay too. So that really is up to you. If you set this up, this will send out a text message, right? That says like, hey, we have more than one order and we need more drivers. So maybe I'll pay an extra $2 or whatever, or maybe you don't need to, right? Like in
Okay.
this case, I would probably suggest, say if the ratio of orders to drivers equals uh one,
Mhm.
then I mean, this is very low. So once you have drivers, you would need to change this.
Okay.
Like the setup that's here would be pretty standard, but as your volume grows and you have more and more drivers, you're going to want to send less of these and adjust these times slightly less as well. But right now, if that's normal for you, you would say like when I have a ratio of 1, I do want to go ahead and say add. I mean, maybe 20 minutes, right? Like
Right.
it's difficult with one driver depending on how big the area is. That is
Right.
a very high shift to add minutes. Just
Okay.
like as soon as I have one order, I'm going to quote 20 minutes more than usual, right?
Okay. Okay.
But I do think that that kind of serves the purpose that you're looking to do here.
Yeah,
And then you might
that's
say,
good.
hey, when we're at 1.5, like then we need to add 25 minutes. And when we're at 2, we need to add 30 minutes, right? And that's going
Gotcha.
to add those on top of. So if this was set up this afternoon, as soon as we got to that one, that
Mhm.
that's an interesting one. I'm considering if we need to make that like 0.75 for you actually, um, to make sure that it immediately kicks in as soon as there's one order.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
I would start off with 1, but if you see it
Okay.
not working, then shift it down to be like
Okay.
0.99, right?
Right. Right. Gotcha.
Just in case, because they really are decimal points, and it's pretty touchy when it comes to that stuff. So I would say like start with something like this, and if this was set up this morning and 1 works the way that I think it will, then the second order would have quoted 20 extra minutes, right? So instead
Gotcha.
of quoting 35, it would have quoted 55, and you definitely would
Okay.
have been safe on that one,
That would have been
even if
perfect.
things were a little bit further apart and, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. No, that would have been, yeah, absolutely perfect there. And and the thing is we're definitely working towards, getting more drivers. It's just this is kind of new for us starting to get busy. So, we're
And I will
putting
say
that
it's
in
an
perspective.
interesting balance as
Yeah,
well.
it
I
is.
I
It's a
don't
tough,
want you to
yeah.
think
Right.
we don't want 100% on time. We've never suggested to
Right.
target 100% on time. That
Right.
is not good for you. You really want to be targeting more like 80%, right? So like I might consider making this 10 minutes because that guy was 1 minute late on that order
Right.
this morning,
Right.
like he
Right.
did pull it off. And you're
Right.
saying like he had to drive pretty far from the drop to the
Right.
restaurant, which
Right.
means it all worked out fine. So
Yeah.
you may want to be a little bit more conservative with this starting off.
Okay.
Um, and do you want me to like put some of these in place
Yeah.
for you
Yeah,
right
that'd
now?
be great. Yeah, I would appreciate it. Yeah,
Do you
thank
want
you.
me to lower them a bit, like make this 10, 15, 20, 25, or
Yeah, I mean that whatever you think, you're the expert. Whatever you think is best. I
it
trust.
definitely depends on the market, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with like I'm gonna
Okay.
leave this one at 45 because I
Okay.
mean more than
Yeah.
3.5 orders per driver is pretty high. That probably actually could be like 60, but we'll
Okay.
go ahead and save it like this for now and see
Okay.
how that plays out for you
Okay.
in
Perfect.
the coming days.
Okay. And just one other quick question about this. So my order for 245, which that one I have my granular prep time set at 45 minutes, but it only gave 35 minutes to get it delivered. Is that because of the mileage based fees?
Yeah, so that's exactly the scenario I was talking
Okay.
about earlier.
Gotcha.
Now
I just
there is a
clarify.
solution to that, right? So what
Okay.
I would just say is like on your location, you typically would set up like what's your global fees, right? So
Mhm.
this is what you have right now,
Okay.
and you've updated. I mean, maybe you did this, maybe Tom D did it when they set you up. I'm not
Yes.
sure, right?
Yes.
But this is set. It's probably set as a default, and
Mhm.
it's and all restaurants are set with this. Now,
Right.
what you can actually do is you can go into this particular restaurant.
Okay.
This is the only solution I can suggest until we have the dynamic stuff.
Okay.
You can go to this particular restaurant, you can go to manage fees,
Okay.
and if their prep time is see, so this is it's 20 minutes sometimes, right? That's kind of the issue now. Maybe it's not really
Yeah.
because they don't open at this time.
Not open,
I'm
right.
not sure what their hours look like and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
They don't open till
But
9.
okay.
Yeah.
So you said they don't open till 9?
Yeah.
Okay, so they basically every moment that they're open have a 45-minute prep time.
Yeah, they're
So the thing is, quote times have nothing to do with that. So
okay.
what I would do is actually come into these mileage-based fees and say, like, look, if usually we're assuming that prep times are 15 minutes on average, and we
Mhm,
quote 35, right?
mhm.
In this case, so that we're giving us like 20 minutes to execute, I would
Right.
do the same here. So I would say like
Right.
this should actually be 65. This
Okay.
should be 70, not 72, 75. There should be 85. There should be 95, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Okay.
this is kind of giving us that same RDS execution buffer, if you will, saying, hey, if it's 15 minutes, we take 20 on our side. So let's go ahead and do that for this particular restaurant as well. And so
Okay.
I would just update this, save these fees. Are you okay with these
Oh,
times?
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's great. Yep. That's
Okay,
perfect.
awesome.
Okay.
So yeah, we went ahead and updated that,
Okay.
and that
Awesome.
should be better moving forward. So
Oh,
same thing next time you get a restaurant that has longer prep times, or maybe you have a couple others in here, I would just kind of follow that same policy
like
and
that.
update just their particular fees.
Gotcha. Perfect. Okay, great. Oh, thank you so much. That was so helpful.
Yeah, for sure. Those were definitely good questions. Does anybody else have anything right now?
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I guess it's on dispatch, the call-in order. Can you explain how that works? I just became aware of that. And I'm going to be starting a new location of a town that's setting up several restaurants. And there's a few that would like that option. And I haven't promised anything because I wanted to make sure it was something I could do that wouldn't cause a lot of issue operationally for me. But how does that work?
I mean,
And
are
do
you?
people do it?
Yeah, people do it, but it's reasonably rare. Are you? There's like not an automated call-in process, if that's kind
Okay.
of the question.
So
I
they
mean,
would
it
call the
really is
customer
like
service.
exactly. You can see this one here actually. Like, see this one's red, so it'll actually be yellow and then red. So this one like needs to be called in, which it is being placed right now. Like someone is calling it in. But like these little phones show like call in as partner, right? And auto dispatch will turn it yellow when you should start trying to call basically, and it will turn it red if you should have already talked to them.
I
Um,
need more like, what if, so we have a pizza restaurant, and then in this town where there's older people that don't know how to use the internet and they want a number to call so we can place the order for them.
got you. So you're saying how you would place an order
Yes, yes,
from the
yes,
back end, not how you'd call it into the restaurant. I got
correct.
you.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean that is super simple actually. You can actually do it right from the dispatch screen if you have it open. You can hit new order. Um, Basically, if the customers used you before, you can look them up here with their email, their phone, or their name. Or if this is their first order, you can just go to new customer here and put in their info. I actually am going to go back here and look up a user instead of re-enter a fresh one, but let's see here. That's usually kind of like the first question when you are taking a call in order, though. Is like, have you ordered with us before, right? If so, what's your like first and last name? So like, I'll look up my customer account here. A lot, but I'll select one. Any addresses that have been used in the past by that customer will be on file. Or, of course, if they're a new customer, you can add a new address. Uh, and then basically just like on the front end, I mean, obviously it's not as pretty, right? Because it is a back end scenario. But just like on the front end, it will run uh, the address and show what's available based on your delivery fee settings. You can actually like sort by any of these columns. So if you want to see like what's cheapest delivery, what the estimated weights are, all these kinds of things, those are accurate as well. And then you can just come in and click click on the items. Same thing as like on the customer side. The like questions will be there, right? So like this breakfast sandwich, you've got to select what meat you want. And then the last step really is getting the payment. So you just come here, get their credit card, or if they've already ordered, it'll already be on file. Confirm the last four, select it, hit add, and then once you do that, there will be a complete order button right here.
Okay. Easy. Do people do that much, or what? This pizza restaurant, they have older people, but is that utilized much, or is that?
It's a very interesting one. So I would say yes, definitely many people do take call-in orders. I don't really know what the percentage. I mean, people who have opened more recently are much less likely to ever take a call-in order. They're much more likely to maybe have a phone number, but tell people, if you want to place an order, go ahead and go on the website, right? But that is definitely something that can differentiate you. It can definitely differentiate you with your restaurant partners along with the customer base, right? It does allow you to tap into that older demographic that is not going to go on the internet at all and place their order. I wouldn't say, it's not making up like 50% of anyone's specific volume or anything like that, right? But does that answer your question kind of, I guess?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. I would say maybe like 30% of people, 20 to 30% of people probably don't take call-in orders. People who
Okay.
do take call-in orders might get like 10 to 15% of their volume, I would say at the most, as call-ins.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
I will just say one more thing because this is very interesting. And you mentioned that it's a pizza spot. So I'm
Mhm.
definitely making some assumptions here, but I'm assuming that what they're asking to do is be able to forward calls for delivery to you and have you take the orders.
No, they want to. It came up last night, and then this new town that I'm starting, they just want it for the older people to give them our customer service number and call. They just tell them just call the market delivers. So
Yeah.
I guess I didn't think of them forwarding it, but
Well, so regardless, either way, I will actually, that was kind of my point though. If they say we don't take our own delivery orders, call the market delivers, that will probably work. There may be a little bit more drop off that way, but there is just this very interesting challenge when there is forwarding. So like people definitely have had restaurants put the RDS like in their phone tree, right? Press 1 for takeout, press 2 for delivery. When they press 2 for delivery, it goes straight to the restaurant delivery service. It's
oh,
shocking the number of customers that will just hang up on you. When you say like thanks for calling the market delivers, they literally just hang up, right? So
okay,
if you go the route of like them giving the person the number, yeah, you're probably gonna have more people who are just like, okay, that's too much of a pain. I'm not doing that, right?
okay.
But there is on the flip side lots of weird stuff that happens whenever they just forward the phone number as well. So
Yeah. And is there any way that the restaurant could do this through their merchant portal? Do they ever take orders? Because they're used to taking them for call-in anyway. That might be a
not
seamless way.
not currently,
No.
no.
Okay.
There's no way for them to take the order and pass it off to you for delivery at the moment.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, I guess I will just say like there are people who do have in the past like set up workarounds for that where like they just text you the customer's name and address and stuff, right? So there definitely could be something that could be worked out, but not like technologically seamless necessarily. And thanks to those of you that have joined us in the last little bit here. Um, just open questions really at the moment. If you have anything, feel free to raise your hand or just come off mute, say hey, ask questions, etc. Keith, go ahead.
So I heard there were new updates. I don't know if this is pertaining to this conversation, but there are new updates with the software for the drivers. What are those updates? Like, what is it going to look like? Is it going to look different?
I would say it looks similar enough that nobody's gonna say, "Oh no, what do I do now?" or anything like that. I don't know. I see Anthony's on the call, but he's not seemingly sitting at his computer at the moment. I would probably welcome Anthony. Would you like to tell us more about the new driver app?
Well, I'm sure there's probably some people on the call that are using it, but I think it's a huge update. The way that it currently sits now, there's nothing that we've encountered that are showstoppers. So all the settings are all rolled in. It's just a lot more intuitive. It takes a lot of the steps out for the drivers, so they don't have to press like 5 buttons to do what they need to do. They're pressing 1 button, or it's just automatically doing something for them. Just the user interface is much cleaner. I would strongly suggest just having some of your drivers download it. They can always revert back to the old one. I don't know
So
if
it's
anybody else that's used it on the call can elaborate.
So it's an actual new app. It's not just an update to the current one.
No, it's a brand new platform and everything. It took us like we're probably on our 6th month. So we converted everything to straight native. It's built on React Native, which is like Facebook's platform. It's a lot more responsive. It's more lightweight, and yeah, it's. I think it's far superior already.
And what's the app called?
It's still going to be called DriverLogic. I thought that was probably your question, and that maybe it was just misunderstood there. But so it is still DriverLogic, but and it will be an update at some point, like once we fully release it globally and say like this is 100% good to go, and we're rolling it. But right now there are links on Facebook for like the beta tester links, so you can update it if you use those links. But you can't like search it on. Well, I think actually on Android you might be able to select that you want the beta version without having the link. Is that true?
I'll just drop the links in here. I don't
Okay.
know. That's supposedly how it works, but a lot of people are having issues
Gotcha.
finding it, so I'll just
So
go
yeah,
grab the links.
there's links that you can click basically to get the updated version, and then if you do encounter any issues, which I don't think I've heard of anybody encountering like fatal issues, but if you do have issues, you can just uninstall it, reinstall the regular one from the store, and you're back to where you were before.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the issues I know is that if you have if you don't have a capital letter in your password, you can't log in. So you may have to like add a capital letter in your driver's password, because we're just validating and we're forcing there to be like a capital letter, but we're taking that out. So they won't need the capital letter pretty soon. But if they have an issue logging in, that's probably what it is that they don't have a capital letter in their current password.
And drivers reset their passwords front end same way a customer would, right?
Yeah, on the new one, I think that is a capability.
Oh, they can change it right on the app.
I'm not sure if it's on the new one. I know we had it, but I don't know if that functionality is built in. I'll have to go on and see.
Gotcha. Well, I was
It
surprised the
doesn't
other
seem to
day
be for me right now.
because there was a driver who was having an issue logging in, and that's what it was. But I was surprised that it looks like, if I remember right, they can't change their password in their driver portal, which I was surprised about.
Yeah, there's only one spot to change passwords right now, and it's on the customer facing side. Anyone can do that though, actually, including like an admin.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so on the current drive or the new driver app, you cannot change your password. That will be added in fairly soon.
I did just reactivate my screen share. I accidentally left the call. Not sure if you guys noticed, but I am back and I am sharing again. If you have any questions, definitely let us know.
Sharing is caring. We missed you, Dev.
I'm sure. I was looking for that supposed issue, which I guess we won't really know until this one goes off. I think this is a slightly different scenario, but this also really shouldn't do it, where this one's prelimmed. So like this order is not stopped by this order. It's stopped by this order, but I actually do think we might have left it like this, like somewhat on purpose, so that this order doesn't grab that driver.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying though, right? Like, so this order is basically said like, hey, assuming everything works out, Ralph is the best driver. If we let this order somehow, like, let's say that this order isn't waiting for this one, then it could grab Ralph, technically. And it would need to, like, reject it. I suppose we could maybe take a different approach if this is what we're actually encountering that's, like, stopping up orders that shouldn't be stopped.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, that one's, like, very new. This one's 20 minutes old. This one's 1 minute old. They both were quoted around an hour, so, like, it's definitely proper to get the first available driver on this one if they're qualified for it. The issue would be, like, if they probably more of, like, I don't know if it's Peoria, but, like, wherever the water, right? Like, I wanna say it's, like, Washington. It is Peoria, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, Peoria, they've got the river or whatever, so it's possible that, like, it's like Peoria and Washington are right across the street, right? Or something like that?
Yes.
Okay, so, like, in that scenario where it's really, like, almost 2 locations, that is where this would lead to an issue. But in this scenario I think it's proper, actually. What are your thoughts, Emery?
I mean, that sounds about right. I mean, if the best driver gets pulled onto an even newer order, that would create a snowball effect of best drivers getting subverted to newer orders,
Right.
which would not be good.
True that. Well, let's keep an eye on that though, and see if we do see any, I guess, issues that get induced from that, and if so, maybe we do need to change it. But at initial walkthrough, I don't think we do.
Can you zoom in, please?
Yeah. Oh. Is that good enough?
Perfect. I love the mobile version. It's very efficient.
Good. How about this? Is this better? Is this actually a good level? Okay. I actually could switch to a more normal size screen, I suppose, but whatever, this will work for now.
How's the new smart support update? All good, Emery?
Been mostly positive reviews. Some people having some issues here and there that we're trying to get hammered out. But when it's working a lot better. So
Yeah, I was very shocked at how much faster everything was when I went in there. Like it just like I don't even remember it ever working this good. It is kind of weird the way that we fix it, I guess, like where you just like get disconnected and we like give you a pop-up instead of like just being able to fix it or whatever, I guess. But it just in order to get it to that level, it sounds like it would need to be brought up to like a different framework entirely. So,
right. I
um,
mean, it is a lot faster, like you said, though. When it's connected, it's roaring fast. But
for sure. Keith, go ahead, sir.
Hey, so we've had a night where we've had like 3 or 4 drivers on, but it wants to auto dispatch to only one driver. Is there a way to fix that?
Say it one more time.
So we've had a night where we've had 3 or 4 drivers on, but it wants to auto dispatch to one driver.
What market are you in?
Sioux City.
Got you.
He works. He's one of my managers.
Got you. So I would definitely say that if you have a order where you're like, hey, John was available, but it went to Mike. Why is everything going to Mike? Then I can definitely look at that scenario. There's a few things that can cause it. The most common one is actually for a market manager to never check in and out. And so their like position gets stale because they're not actually driving. They don't actually leave the app open, right? So like that is the one that I see most commonly, where like you've been checked in forever. We haven't gotten a location update from you. So like you're checked in, but we say like, yeah, we haven't seen anything from him in like over 12 hours. Like we can't really guess where he's at anymore.
Okay, so if they're closing or like minimizing out of the app, it's not updating them.
Correct. And so, I mean, there's just many different situations that can induce this, right? Somebody sitting at home on Wi-Fi, like if they have a red globe, you see this one over here, like this red globe right here.
Yeah, which all of ours actually start off like that for some. Well, most of ours start off like that for some reason.
So that definitely is most commonly happening when they're like at home on Wi-Fi. That is the number one way we see to resolve that. You can also like switch off Wi-Fi, chat with dispatch. But that is another thing. Like if it doesn't know their location, it won't dispatch them. That's much less of an issue than it used to be. Like there's only that one I think on the board right now, maybe this one as well. But and it should be better with the new app as well. Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I haven't had no issues reported on that specific problem.
Yeah, I'm still having the same issue with that same driver I was talking to you about, Anthony, with the Greg. But he's coming over tomorrow, so hopefully we'll get him on the beta. But the other 3 drivers that I have on the beta, everything seems to be working.
Great. How are they liking it?
I think good because I haven't heard much back, which I think is good.
Okay.
There was one thing, but I think it was already addressed. If the address is too big, like if it's like a long name and then an apartment number and like
it's getting cut off.
Yeah, exactly. But I think I saw somebody already mention that. But in my head, no news is good news. So
For sure. Yeah, but that's a big one. I would say in this new update that should be out at the end of this week, if not beginning of next week, there's probably about 3 pretty major updates. One of them being that address, because if it's like apartment 107 and you can't see apartment 107, like, it's a showstopper. So got to call the customer.
I have another question. It's a little different than this right here, but when you're in and you're looking at customers and you can see how some can be marked VIP and I think there's a couple options I can't think of right now, but what does that do? And where is that seen, and what's the point of that? I did make one a VIP once because she ordered a lot, and I just wanted to see if it did anything different, and I never noticed anything different.
It definitely doesn't do anything different for like their ordering experience, but what it does is like over here, you can actually see on the customer column they have these stars, which apparently when I zoom in, those don't get bigger. So I don't know how easily you can actually see this, but whenever so those VIP people will come in with a star on them. It really is more of like a dispatch side thing. It can also be used for marketing. If you're using the marketing automation portal, those all customer tags do sync over there as well. So like you could use VIP as, give them special deals or put them into a special marketing list and stuff like that. So there's a few things you could do with it, but like the original purpose of those, the reason that they originally existed was so that like when manual dispatching was happening, people could say, "Oh, I see there's a star here. What's the deal with this customer? Oh, this is their situation." The most common ones to be used were VIP and like the order recovery one as well. I don't even know if it's really called that, but basically means, like, hey, this person had a bad experience last time. And then they would actually remove it once they kind of like ensured that order went well for their next time.
Nice. And also with tags, we had talked about this at the conference, but so we were trying to do a GFO kind of marketing thing with the managers where they would reach out. We were kind of confused because do GFO customers their first time, do they have to create an account? Because I noticed that I have GFO customers that have ordered once and they've collected the points through the reward system, which kind of surprised me. And now as we go through the ones that are marked with GFO, we see the points that they have and we don't know if they switched over or not. So we're having a hard time figuring that out.
Gotcha. So definitely them ordering through GFO is going to create them an account. I would guess that it is possible that they are getting those points automatically. I hadn't really considered that, but it's definitely possible. The best way to really see if they've ordered again, I mean, this is definitely an interesting one. I might have to zoom out a slight little bit here. So like, it's much more challenging on a board of this size actually, but like if I look at orders that like don't have GFO, they would actually, the customers get tagged with GFO whenever they order from GFO. So like if these orders were app or web or something and this customer had the GFO tag on them, then that would tell me that this person had ordered from GFO, but today they ordered from the web. Like I realize you might not be sitting there staring at the dispatch screen all the time, right? That's just like one potential way to tell that they have converted. Which I was kind of looking for one here, but
So that is going to change between customers. Like if they signed up at the beginning with GFO, if they use the web app, that's going to change on our dispatch as well.
So the source here is where this order came from. The tag shows whether they've ever ordered from GFO. Does that make sense or no?
Source is where the customer originally stemmed from, or tag is where origination.
Source is where this order came from.
Right.
The GFO tag exists on everyone who's ever ordered from GFO. So if this person had ever ordered from GFO, it would say GFO here, and it would be web, right? So like, I realize that's not like the most self-explanatory situation. I'm trying to actually like find one, but like these are still GFO, so those obviously aren't going to be them.
Hey, Devon. So in my, I don't have one right now, I don't think, but when I had a GFO customer that was just a first time order, when they ordered again, our drivers hands them like a coupon. And when they order again, it'll say GFO for the first one, like what Anthony and Devon was saying. But then if they ordered on the app, it will say app on the second, that column. So then we know that.
This actually is, I did find an example here where like this person, in parentheses, it shows that they've ordered 25 times now, actually. So they have at some point ordered from GFO. They have a GFO tag on them. They've ordered 25 times. This order today was from the web, right?
I'm not seeing the GFO tag. Is that the star?
Whenever I
Or-
hover maybe it's not displaying when I hover it, actually,
Okay.
I'm not sure, but yeah, whenever you hover the star, it shows you the tag that's on this customer. So you're saying you can't see that right now?
No, I just see you pointing at a star.
Got you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's tiny. It's underneath his hand. Underneath
It's
his
very, very small.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can see it. I can
Okay.
see it now. So that's how we know if they converted. If besides when it is real time, when it comes in, and we can look at that and see, okay, there's a GFO tag. Now we see they source through the web or an app, so we know that one's done. But how would you, if you have someone who's ordered GFO 7 times, or there's a GFO source and you see they've ordered 7 times there, how is there a way to separate out and see, okay, we're the first couple that, and then we converted them, or how do we
I
track that?
mean, yeah, it's definitely not a super easy thing to do. Like you can, but you basically have to like do that customers. So like you have to come in here. You can go to quick info. You can click on the customer. I don't think that like source displays by default in their account. Bear with me while this loads. Yeah, so you can't see the source here. So there's not a super easy way to do this, I guess. But like you can technically view all this person's orders. I don't think this opens a dispatcher view either. I would honestly say like no, there's not really an easy way to do this right now. It's possible a guy could derive this information, but I would have to take every one of these orders. I would have to open it from the dispatch screen. Then you can actually view like you can actually see even if you don't have this and you just like open the order up, you can scroll down here. It's moved down quite a bit over the years, but it'll show you where the order originated from here as well. So like you could theoretically open up this guy's 25 orders, determine how many. So that's one way, right? I mean, another way is actually, this is probably what I would actually do if I need. I'm not sure what you're going to do with this information, right? It's going to be much more helpful when like you can actually sync it into the marketing automation stuff, and it can like alert you to these things and tell you what the situation is. But that's not an option right now. So like what I would actually do if I personally was trying to solve this is I would copy the customer's email, which apparently is difficult to do. And I would go to the report generator. And I would select order information. Now, usually this is some of this other stuff is going to be pretty small still, but you'd control F or command F if you're on Mac, and you can search for like email. So we'll see there's 2 emails here. There's customer email, promoter email. I'm going to use the customer email. Now, what I'm really going to do is filter to this customer email. So I dragged it in as a column that I'm going to be able to see on this report that I'm running, but I'm also going to pull over here to filters. I'm going to click on filters here, which I realize you might not realize is clickable, but it is. It actually allows me to say that I need the customer that I'm running this report for. I need the email to be equal to this guy's email that I just copied. So like this is now all of this guy's orders, right? I don't have a ton of data on them, but what I can do is I can pull in the source column. I could actually pull in like the date. let's say due date's going to be the due date of the orders, right? So I mean, this gives me a lot more insight into like what you were just asking, right? Like I can see, yeah, he's definitely placed a few. Let's say they're not sorted by due date, so that's another thing we can do. We can actually sort ascending or descending. So let's just say like sort ascending due date. So yeah, I mean, he has a few GFO orders scattered in here basically, but is mostly web orders, looks like. We can also pull in like the restaurant information, the totals, all kinds of good stuff. So I realize that's a very advanced way to derive that information, but hopefully that's somewhat helpful still. And it definitely gives you a little bit more of an idea of how powerful the report generator can be as well.
Thank you.
And this video will be accessible from the event, from the calendar invite. So like if you go to your Google Calendar and go back to this invite, this video will automatically attach to that. So if you want to refer back to it.
Looks like you have a question, Jeremy.
Yeah, I was thinking about the GFO orders, and I know I brought it up to Anthony, but I'm still only dealing with this one specific restaurant and the Chowly, how they kind of jacked our pickups. Is there any news on that? I can give you the account too, because it's literally, it's weird because it's only one account and he has multiple restaurants and it's just one of his restaurants.
Interesting.
If
No,
you
I mean,
Google Goat Ocado, RVA.
I mean, I think we're familiar with the situation.
Okay,
I
so
don't
you
know we
know
need to look
what's
it up, but
okay.
I mean, I don't really know if there's been any development there. I think the answer is probably not.
the
But
development is we have to do our own integrations to protect you, our clients, from Checkmate or Chowly or anybody else in the future. So that's what we're currently working on. The only one that we haven't been able to get access to that we've tried is Toast so far, which they're probably the largest one. So we'll just have to keep on working on that.
All right. Yeah, I know the local Toast guy that does Virginia. I can maybe, I don't know if he's the big enough fish for it, but
yeah, I mean, any contacts will help. We've talked to a couple of other guys on the lower on the totem pole. We have some contacts with some higher ups, but they just haven't opened back up their API. So we'll see.
And do you think that's because of the DoorDash deal that they have right now?
No, it could have been because they were going public. I'm not sure exactly why. They may be reassessing like partnerships. I know they had issues with, I think, Chowly and got rid of Chowly. Supposedly, that's what Checkmate told us. So I don't know.
All right. I mean, I'm keeping an eye on it, but it's just weird. It's that one restaurant, you know? It's like they're testing it out and then, I don't know, hopefully not roll it out everywhere, but, and it's weird that there's no way to just turn it off in general.
Yeah, I mean the restaurant can turn it off,
but
they
can't. I was there. We turned it off, and it was still showing up 2 days later.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
But my guy, he's I just muted myself. I said my guy's down to be a guinea pig if we need to figure out how to fix it.
Sounds good. You're still showing the report generator deals.
am I?
Not anymore. Sneaky.
Can I ask another quick GFO question?
Nope, no more
No,
questions.
no more. I'm out of questions.
No, I'm just kidding. What's up?
So I was just curious. We had a customer who ordered twice from us, and we gave him a coupon with our delivery code and all that. But he used GFO the next time, but he used our delivery code and it worked. Is that normal?
Yeah, I think we have a ticket open on that. It is possible. It's not something we realized was possible till it was reported. It's not like purposeful necessarily.
Right.
But it also is kind of challenging to figure out how to handle on that side of things. So I don't think it's something that's like in the works or that I'm going to say is going to be like resolved next week or anything like that. But that is a thing that works currently.
Okay. Thank you.
I will say, however, that my suggestion would be that you do a really hefty app-only coupon. I realize it's much more challenging to get a customer to download the app, but if you give them a better coupon, they're much more likely to be a better customer, order more food, tip your drivers better, and have better ordering experience. So that would be kind of my suggested solution to that problem, would be to actually convert whatever that code is that you're usually pushing, whether it's just on GFO orders, whether it's for all new customers, would be to make it a hefty app-only coupon code.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you.
For sure.
Can you explain the benefits of that? Because I do pushes on my app and I hardly get any response on it. And then on Facebook, I do one. And I guess I don't know if it's web or app, but I'll put a code on Facebook or a code on the app, and I'll notice my Facebook one gets a lot of use on it. But I guess I've never heard anyone explain more of the benefits of the app versus the website. Can you share a little more detail about
Yeah,
that?
for sure. And I will actually just do you mind if I pull up your back end, Stacy, here?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd like to see how she sends out those push notifications as well.
Yeah, so that
Is that what you're
definitely
going
has,
into?
yeah, for sure. So that
Yeah.
has like a huge effect on it. There's not like a landing page or anything for these right now, right? So they kind of display to the customer and then they're gone, right? Which really means that you need to keep them very short, and everything that's pertinent needs to be very early in the message, which means like you can't get that creative with it or anything like that, right? But just a couple things. So like here, I need to zoom in probably. In the marketing area in push notifications, we can also see like the delivery. So we can see like how many people are actually getting them, which I mean, this is a pretty good chunk actually. But see, so this code is so far down that many people probably are not seeing it at all. So that could be a large portion of why
Okay.
you're seeing that. I would really, I mean, I realize that this is kind of lame, right? But like I really would just kind of start being like use code shop local for free delivery tonight, and then here I
Okay.
would say get free delivery tonight, use code shop local,
So
like,
just
and then
simplify
if
it.
you're gonna put like, which these are good messages, but like I would just put that stuff at the end so that you're making sure that the most pertinent info is at the beginning.
Gotcha.
Devin, the biggest thing I see is like the URL, I think, is very confusing, right? Because what ends up happening is if you put this URL in, which people would tend to just say, yeah, this is my URL, it takes them to the web. And if you don't put the URL in,
Are you sure that it does that?
I'm telling
Yeah,
you,
it does. It does. It does that for mine. And I don't
it
even
does not make any sense. We need to change how that function works, because if they put a URL there, you click that notification, it's popping you to the web. It's not taking you to the app.
Gotcha.
So did
That's
I
the
put that
issue.
in? Or does that
What's
just
that?
go up? That URL, did I do that? Or that just goes in?
No,
You-
whoever sent those out put those in, and I would suggest not putting
Okay.
your URL in there. And Devin, we should just change
I
like
mean, this
what it.
literally was never built to work that way. That's why it says web notifications only right here.
Yeah, I always thought that
It's
was
not
for my
supposed to
web
do that. It never
users.
has been
Okay.
supposed to.
I mean, we can test it on. Can
Yeah,
we
we
send
definitely
out?
should. You gonna send out a push, Jeff? Should we download
Yeah,
the app
let's
real
do it.
quick?
Let's Jeff already pushed out one today. I have.
Dang. What's the
I have
harm in
his
another
app.
one?
Hey, I can put another one through if you want me to.
No, I
I mean, we could
imagine
just
we could
test
figure
on.
out a different way to test it, but
I was going to use a coupon code and call it, use Devon, use coupon code Devon. Get $5 off.
But
I
let's
might
see.
have a spot I could test it real quick. Let me see.
We could do it on Tech 9. I
Yeah,
have Tech
that's
9.
what I'm doing.
It's right here.
So just from what you're showing on the screen, what was delivered, does that mean that from November 16th to November 29th, I went from 589 app users to 697 or 637?
It does, yeah.
Is there a way to see how many people downloaded my app besides that?
Not really, no.
Okay.
If
That's
you look,
probably the best way. I mean, really,
yeah,
that's a
I
great
would say it
metric.
is actually.
Yeah.
As long as you're sending these, I would definitely say that's the easiest way to see by far.
Because I don't think Apple exposes that, do they? Or
Apple does, yeah.
it's Android doesn't, or something?
Well, the
Something weird
Android
with
is
one
under
of
our
them.
account, so I mean they're accessible, yes.
Yeah.
And like if you're running like a huge campaign and you need to know that info, like you can put in a ticket and we can usually get it back to you at some point in time. But there is no easy way to see it just on the fly.
Yeah, because I mean, Devin, for like Jeff's push notification, I don't know if you could see that, but there's a decent amount of text that shows up if you hold on to it, I
Yeah,
just
no, agreed.
Yeah, I noticed that when I do like both, and when it pops up on my side, I click on it, it'll bring it right to the actual physical like web portion of it, and then now I just do the app, the phone part of it, not both.
I did attempt to send one out from Tech 9.
is it hooked up?
Oh, that's weird. I think so, but it's scheduled to go out at 6:43. I guess does it schedule it 5 minutes after? It's interesting. Even if it's ASAP.
Maybe
I
we did
probably
that
should
just in
double
case
check it.
somebody screws up.
Maybe.
Did you figure out the whole Deliver Club URL thing today?
Yeah, that's what I was calling you about.
Alright.
I mean, to simplify it, if you have it off, basically, on your URL, so like he had it off, he doesn't send those text messages, then sometimes it will sneak through and he'll get a Deliver Club one.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
But I mean, we found like a couple things that are just like weird little tweaks that make it more seamless. Things we've added in over time, basically, to make other things more consistent that swapping some stuff out will help with. But...
Okay.
Alrighty. Yeah, so that was the main thing I wanted to show you on the push notification side of things. The other item that I wanted to mention was the just, I guess really it's more of like a spiel than like something I can show you, right? But you said like what are the other benefits of the app, and really like for a customer, you're most likely to get them to download the app if you give them a nice hefty coupon to get them to do it, right? But for you, like their customer experience is that much better, right? The status updates come through the app. They stay logged into the app. It remembers who they are. It keeps all the information saved. So like ordering through the web is a process that you can get through, right? It's not too challenging, but you got to log in every time. Many people enter their address every single time, things like this. So the app really is just much more on par with what the big guys have when it really comes down to it. If you put them side by side, that's definitely your ordering experience that is most competitive.
We
So
constantly have higher ratings on the app than we do on web as well, and
for
we're
sure.
redoing the whole web interface right now, but that won't be out for another two months probably.
Last week or earlier in this week, I was explaining about the issue that was showing all the pre-orders, or it just said pre-orders, and I think it was Noah or maybe you, Devon, explained about caching and needing to update that. So that's kind of what, at that moment, I thought, well, I'm not going to have people do my app then, because
Got you.
then,
Yeah, so I think it was Noah that went over that. He did discuss it with me a little bit. I
okay,
don't know if he ever came back and mentioned, but there is this very interesting thing where you guys usually don't order through your app. If you order, you just kind of throw it in there, right? Now, if you're going in and you're testing and you're changing your addresses and you're changing your time and you're trying this and trying that, and you're never actually finishing anything, it definitely leads to some weird stuff. The other thing is we've adjusted the time a few times, so I can't remember what it is exactly, but I believe that it's like it locks in what you were doing for like 24 hours basically. It'll lock in the cart actually even longer than that, but it won't lock in the address and the time, okay? But like if you go in at 23 hours and you add something to your cart, it's still going to keep that time and that address locked in, right? It's what we would call almost like keeping a session open, like on the web, and it actually does work similarly on the web. If you On the web, our sessions are I think 4 hours long. So if you go in every 3 hours and 45 minutes and you make a little tweak here or there, or you take an action on your website, it will keep that session open. Whereas customers don't really do that, right? Like they either order or they don't. And they're not coming back every few hours playing around in the app, but not actually doing anything. So there are some weird issues that can be induced by that. Obviously, we would also like to refine it so that those are not encountered. And we're definitely always trying to smooth that out even more. But if customers go into the app, place orders, and then go in a few days later and place another order, they shouldn't be encountering any issues really.
I actually worked with the app developer. I talked with him for a while on Monday about this, and he's going to be making a API change to basically if the app has been running in the background a set amount of time, to just like force it to regrab and update the info, kind of like just outside of the whole caching thing. So that ticket's on him now. I don't know when I'll be testing that, but that will be changing in the future, so it should help with that.
Grab what info, Noah?
Just the timing info.
Got you, because it's holding on to the last time that the customer was about to place an order instead of resetting itself to like ASAP after 2 hours or something. I mean, it should
Correct.
really reset quicker than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's my understanding.
Okay, cool.
that's good news. Thank you. I like that, knowing that. I don't know, even myself, when I went to use my app a couple times, everything showed pre-order, but anybody that knows me knows I'm not technical at all. So I have like probably every app on my phone that I've ever gone into up. So I'm learning that, but that's really good news, Noah. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. I just realized this past week. I always said, if that happens, just force close the app, which for me, I work in tech. I always, have a device, etc. I force close my apps all the time just because I feel like, it helps my phone run faster, etc. But I know a lot of people don't do that. The most of the time, if it's happening, they're going to be logged in. So they just log out and back in. That will also reset it. But like I said, we're gonna be making this change, and hopefully it'll just make it not ever occur.
Is this a good place to ask about the issue that I shared on there about the credit card having to be re-entered and then the other one not doing that? Or is there another place and time for that?
I mean, if you have any info that you can provide beyond what you've provided thus far, we're definitely happy to hear it and jot it down. This call is definitely mostly a free for all. I think we tested some stuff a little bit and weren't really seeing that as easily recreatable. But yeah, I mean, we could chat about it a little bit if you'd like.
Yeah, I did also place a test order after I saw that, just to make sure that it was able to process cards. The please re-enter one. I mean, I know there are certain flows where it will need you to re-enter, which a lot of times, if you have your card saved, is just hitting select payment method and then clicking the saved card. But as far as the other one, I mean, we would need like a screenshot really to know what the message says, because typically that error message gives the most insight as to what could be the perceived issue in the software.
Oh, we lost track of that order, Devon, huh? That one that we were gonna see if AD worked properly.
No, I meant more that issue than that particular order. I mean, AD definitely worked properly on that particular situation because there was a good long deviation and it wasn't like a Peoria, Washington situation.
Right. Hey, did we push the bundler to the other two test clients yet? The new bundler?
We didn't push the setting, if that's what you're asking, but the new bundler updates have been live. The only thing we haven't been able to do is modify that setting on the fly.
Got you. Okay, so the new bundler did go live today, global?
I don't know about global necessarily.
All right.
Yeah, there's not an easy way to verify that. I could verify it if the setting was there. I could look at it and be like, yes, they're up to date. But since the setting wasn't part of the first version of that, I can't actually easily verify it anywhere. Keith, did you have a question?
Yeah, so I'm also, other than a manager, I'm also a lead driver. So I have an order 3370, and it still says unpaid on my app, and it shows $0 commission or delivery fee was $0, and I was just wondering what to do about that.
That's a good question.
Devin, you look
That was
prettier on
one-
that little pop-up.
That was one
Thanks.
that came through as a GFO and the delivery fee was only $1. and it was actually a little ways. So I went in and edited the order and changed the delivery fee to $4.99 just to give something there. And then later, I think it was Juliet, she went in and showed me that the reason that dollar came up was because of my something with my mileage settings and then the default thing, which I understand now. And she sent the video. But I noticed in my batched orders that order he's referring to has been batched, and it looks like it should be fine. But I just wanted to share that backstory on there while you look that up for him.
But if you change the delivery fee to $4.99, wouldn't it charge the customer? No.
I sure hope so. That was my intention.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, we don't deliver for $1 anywhere. But I figured if she called me because it was changed, I would explain to her that there was a mistake because of that GFO order. But I think it was a good amount away from the restaurant, and it didn't default with my $3.99 in there. And I think it would have been closer to maybe $9 for that delivery. So I just kind of went in the middle and thought if she called, I'd explain it. But it did show that there were 2 batched. Is that it right there?
Yeah.
Yep.
This order?
Yep. When I looked last time, it showed there were 2 batched.
Yeah, so I mean the issue, I mean it really actually should say that it's paid because the driver is not due any money on it. So these are the columns that the drivers get paid based off of. And so when the software assigns a delivery fee, it gives the commission, right? But when you manually override it, I think you also have to manually override the commission.
Okay.
So in this particular, like if you wanted him to make money on this order, you would need to edit it and add a credit at this point because these are all 0 still.
Done.
So
Okay.
it says pending and like unpaid, but this actually should say paid because you have been paid the $0 that you're
But if
owed
that's
for.
edited,
So there's nothing
the
I have to worry
software
about
should
then.
just automatically
I mean,
pay
it
the commission.
can't know what commission to pay you. That's the issue. Our commission structures are very complex.
So there's nothing I have to worry about then on my
There's
end.
driver level and tier levels, right? So like it doesn't know what to do.
It would take whatever.
But you can enter whatever you want in this box is what I'm saying. I mean, we could definitely like backtrack it, but we couldn't do so flawlessly. We could say like if you put it in, they get 100% of whatever you put in or something like that, you know. But I don't think there's like a perfect solution to this.
But like whatever it would have been, like say if the driver commission was 80%, like it should just take what it was on the current one and do a percent of, it apply
Right,
the
but
same
the
percent.
reason that there is no delivery fee is because it didn't properly identify what it should be.
Oh, I thought you were saying there was $1 originally or something.
Is it a GFO order by chance?
Yeah,
It was GFO, and I changed it from $1 to $4.99. But maybe if I went into, and I don't expect that to happen again now that it's been addressed.
Right.
It has happened at least once before that I know of. And Keith, I'll pay you that $4.99.
No, it's fine.
But no, I feel like it's resolved. And usually I wouldn't go in and make a change like that, without discussing it with them. But coming through GFO and only $1 and it was no tip. If it wasn't Keith, one of my managers and one of the drivers I communicate with a lot, I don't know who would have delivered that so far with no tip and $1.
Yeah.
So on my end, I don't have anything to worry about then.
No.
Even though it says unpaid.
Probably says unpaid because you really didn't make anything but $1.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it really depends, I guess, like on how you want to handle this. If you want to get him paid, you could go in and edit the order and give him like a credit, and then auto pay would do it. Or if you both decide that you don't want to worry about it, you can check this.
Well, no, you should
and
just
mark
go in and
unpaid and
put the
reconcile.
credit. You should put the credit and give
Yeah.
them the
Can
$4.99.
you show me how to do that, to manually go in like you say, and then see if he sees that on his end?
Yeah, for sure.
him-
Well,
okay.
so he's definitely not going to see it instantly on his end
Sure.
because he's going to have to take another order that can pay him this amount. But I will
Okay.
go ahead and it's interesting that when you click on this order, it automatically edits it for you. But that's kind of cool. Assuming that's what you actually want to do. So when you click on this order number from the driver cash out, it brings us right into the order. We can then go to errors and adjustments, and we can credit the driver $4.99. Say delivery fee issue. Hit update and hit save.
So if that same scenario were to happen again, I'd still have to go in and put the amount that I wanted so that I was paid from the customer, and then I go into the driver. Because if I would have just done it that way to start with, I would have taken $4.99 from the profit on my side. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I did notice that you actually can't edit the driver commission, which I thought was interesting. Maybe it's been that way for a long time actually, but oh, that's interesting. Did you have a cash order sitting there? Maybe it actually did reprocess that. I mean, so I did reload the report, and I think this was the order that was an issue. So you will see that I did say earlier, like these two columns, but this is the actual charges or credits column here. And so that order does now have that $4.99 credit there.
Okay.
But Devin, originally, when I'm saying like if somebody adds, a delivery fee or why, wouldn't it automatically take the original and a percent of it and just auto do that, so you don't have to go add the $4.99 and
I
then go
mean,
do
it definitely can, but what I'm saying is that that is not a flawless solution because it's not identifying what delivery fee tier it's on. Some people set their driver at 0% commission, and then the delivery fee structure handles all of the tiering out of what the commission is, right? So I could say from 0 to 1, I pay you 95%. From 1 to 3, I pay you 87%, like whatever, right? So there's just no way for us to like properly identify what that is. So, which is why I said, like, if we're going to do that, we may as well just like hard code it to 100%, right? Like, if you change the delivery fee manually,
Yeah, but if
because there's no way to back associate it properly.
yeah, but those tiers are based on miles, right?
Right.
So if that delivery was within whatever that tier was mileage, right, then it would take that $4.99 and you would get whatever that percent is. Unless if
I mean, maybe
I'm very
that's
bad
so
at
weird
the
that that didn't
zones and
work,
all that, but I'm just
yeah, right. So like the issue is that there wasn't one, right? See how there's no miles here? Like that's why the delivery fee was bad as well. That's why this issue occurred to begin with. So I would say 99% of the time when this is a problem that happens, this is the situation. And the reason that it was wrong to begin with is because it didn't know what to do. Right. Now,
why
like,
was
we
there
can
no
make it so that
distance?
you can't override this, and that instead you have to put in the distance, and then we could do what you're saying for sure, right? Like, if the way that you corrected the delivery
Right.
fee, if there was a problem, was by setting the distance, then yes, that could fix it.
So what's the reason why we don't have a distance? Because it didn't find the address or something, and she
I'm
doesn't have.
She
I
explained
really
that
couldn't tell you for sure.
on that restaurant or something, and I'm not sure, like when you go into your mileage fees, if you go to that,
I
Yeah,
mean,
see the
yeah,
GFO address
the
right
reason
there?
is because we didn't recognize the address,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, okay.
yeah, but she did a default thing in your,
So what she did was she set it so that when you fall back to zone-based fees,
yes,
which is like a backup, that it doesn't charge nothing or it doesn't charge $1. It charges your lowest delivery fee most likely, which is the most common setup. So, but yes, I mean we just straight up didn't recognize that address. It looks like, which is, I mean, it's an interesting one.
Is there, now that she set that so that if that were to happen again and it gets the 399, is there a way for me to track and know, like, so when this happened and it was just $1, I obviously knew something wasn't right. But if I'm on dispatch and something's coming through and it's 399 and maybe the distance seems farther, but I wouldn't know that unless I was checking into anyone, is there a way to know
Right.
what addresses aren't collected or am I answering or am I asking that correctly? Do you know what I mean?
I definitely hear the question that you're asking. Yes, I would say there's not really anything to indicate that, and that it's pretty rare. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would say there's not an easy way to just like look at the dispatch screen and be like, "Oh, that's a problem," because now it will in fact have that. And just to like verify what was that restaurant? I think it was this one.
Alfredo West Side. Yeah.
So like here on the managed fees area, most likely this was like $1 before.
Yep.
And so now it's $3.99, which what that means is if we can't properly map out one of these mileage tiers and it goes to zip code based zoning basically, that as long as the zip code is a zip code that you deliver to in this location, right, with this zone, then this is like your absolute bare minimum. You'll never quote less than 30 minutes or quote a delivery fee less than $3.99. In this case, the minimums here is 0. So that would be the minimum, but yeah, so this is kind of like your safety net. It is in fact typically how I do describe it.
Right.
And I guess just like while we're already in here, just like something to bring up would also be that like if in mileage based fees you have like 25 minutes here, but you have 30 minutes here, you will quote 30 minutes. These are like your true safety net minimums. And
Okay.
that is like, so if this is 30 and this is 25, you're going to quote 30 because you're setting your absolute bare minimums here already.
Okay. We're actually closed today for tornadoes and all that around here, so it's been crazy here.
That's when you get surge pricing.
One more question about the
800%.
app.
Did you say you had another question, Keith?
Yeah, about the app. So when I hook it up to my car through Android Play and I press the directions button on the app, sometimes it'll take me to a whole different address. Is that a known issue or?
You have the new app? Or the
Well,
old
I
one?
just got the beta today. I haven't tried it out yet, but the old app,
Yeah,
when I would press the directions button and it would link to my car, it would show a completely different address.
And when you say completely different address, are you saying like it's 130 and it takes you to 127?
Yeah.
Are you okay? So that is something that we just tested a fix for yesterday, actually.
Okay.
I would definitely still suggest paying attention to that myself.
I mean,
But
I do. I was just making sure.
yeah, and most likely like you're going to, but some driver someday isn't,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. But yes, we've made some app side changes that should help with that for sure. But I believe that the
does it map
solution more or
properly
less
on your phone?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Does it map properly on your phone and
No,
not through and just
it'll take me to the same address that it's taking me on my car.
okay. So it's just that it's not getting the proper address. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the Android.
No.
And the reason that's interesting is because somebody did bring up an issue like with Android Play in the new beta app. So I think that's why he was asking.
Right. Yeah.
No, the beta looks pretty neat so far, so we'll have to test it tomorrow.
Can you explain the different reasons why drivers get paused?
I mean, I think there's really only two. The first one is I come over here and click the pause button on you. Maybe you called or texted me and told me that there's a problem. The other one is actually a setting. I'll look at your site for this example. Under locations, there's this driver auto comms area. And one of these is that when an order is assigned to a driver and they haven't taken the action of accepting it on there, then these things happen at certain intervals. So if you send an order to a driver and they haven't accepted it at 5 minutes, we're going to send them a push notification that says, please accept order 1234. At 10 minutes, they should get a phone call. They can actually press 1 inside of that phone call to accept it. If they don't do that, then it looks like we wait about 4 more minutes. And in this case, we would unassign, pause the driver, and rerun auto dispatch. Which, for me, this is actually very, very lenient. For me, this is more like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes at the most.
I have one driver that has that insurance app on his phone, and he can't touch his phone or do anything with his phone while he's driving. So he's been the only one that's been an issue with that, even with that 5 minutes. But I told him I couldn't go more, but
Right.
he can't accept until he's delivered or pulls over or something because of that insurance thing, which that's new. That just came up this week, but I actually
Gotcha.
thought of extending that, but if that seems good enough, I'm just gonna leave that.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty high. And it's actually, I mean, it's not happening till 14 minutes. So I would say it's probably pretty rare that he doesn't have an opportunity to either be at a restaurant, be at a customer, or pull over during that window. But possibly if you're doing like really long deliveries, it could happen, I suppose.
But it's
But
that
can't they just go? Go ahead.
It's at that 14 minutes that it would then go to another driver, but not before that. Everything else is just informative about letting him know.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And
Couldn't
those
they
are the
go on
only.
last run or pause, Devon, or go offline?
Yeah, but the question was, how does he keep getting paused? It's like he's not done driving. He just
No,
has. I
my
guess there's some insurance app on your phone now that tracks everything you're doing.
yeah.
So
But the other night, my son was driving and he kept getting on pause, and I wasn't doing it, and I didn't know of him having an order. But I'll have to pay better attention to that if those are the reasons on there.
okay, and we can you can kind of like track that back too, actually, because it does send a message. So like you can go to the dispatcher. Up here, you can go to messages. You can actually show unassigned drivers. Which one is your son?
It's Spencer.
Okay. So here you can actually see, like right here. Let's see. So you can see like the timestamps on these things. So like here you got like, this particular order was sent at 5:32. He accepted, marked place, marked arrived, en route, delivered. That's an interesting one. At 5:57, you've been paused. Then it looks like you unpaused him. You got paused again. Oh, that does seem a little bit early to me. Doesn't seem like that should have happened. I mean, this order was sent and he received it and then he got paused. That's very interesting. Let's see. Just give me a sec to read this and understand it, if you don't mind. Everything that day actually was pretty. So, are you ready to get checked in? Are you ready to get orders? Send him 3-2. Everything was good. after he delivered, he got 3.7. He accepted it right away. Yeah, he really shouldn't have been paused unless someone was manually pausing him, which would be weird as well, but
Well,
nothing went long enough for that to happen.
it wouldn't be, I mean, if it's not something that could happen, the only other thing that could happen is I was on dispatch watching, and then another one of my managers, not Keith, was. So I don't know why she would have, because we needed him and he was out driving. But
Got you. Is he usually like a backup when he's on, maybe?
he's in college, so when he's home, sometimes he gets on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting one for sure. I'm not really seeing a reason that he should have been paused unless it was happening manually. But I guess I would just say if you do see that pop up again, I mean, that would be, if it was happening that much earlier, it'd be happening to people all the time. They definitely would be complaining about it, I would think.
Yeah.
But if you do see it keep popping up, I guess just let us know.
Okay.
I know when I first started, I was getting paused and unpaused a lot, but it hasn't happened lately.
Yeah, we have had it sporadically with different drivers where I look up and it's paused and I'm like, I didn't. But before that, I never knew what you showed me,
Right.
why they get paused. So I never knew a reason before. But now I know I know the reason. But
Sure.
so it's hard to say back then what the reason was there. But now I know better how to watch it.
Devin, could it be because they didn't have their location for a while, and maybe he was on Wi-Fi, and
I mean,
if
he was
switches off
taking orders
Wi-Fi,
actively,
yeah.
so I wouldn't think so. It should be faking out his location, even if that's the case. But we can come over here and just double check that there's nothing else that pauses them. But no, there's not. It's definitely interesting. Yeah, I would say keep an eye on that. If it becomes like a long-term issue, like with like the guy in the insurance app as an example, right? Like you can disable that. You can't extend it beyond 14 minutes. That's the max right now, but you could disable it. I would not generally suggest it. I definitely wouldn't suggest it like just due to the issue that Spencer had. Because if there is a problem with the timing, we would much rather get it fixed than make you disable it, right? But yeah. Jeff, you've been quiet tonight. Are you making a bunch of pizzas over there, or what's the deal?
Here, I'll show you. Hold on.
Perfect, perfect.
We're just cleaning, you know.
Nice,
We're just getting ready.
nice, nice.
Instead of watching my son playing basketball on live, I had to go watch him on the good old computer.
Hey, that's cool that you can even do that. Think of the times we live in. How
I know,
crazy.
right? But yeah, trust me, no, I'm gonna be on here in shortly. When I give me like a half an hour if you guys are still on, because I do want to run. If it's quiet, I do want to. I have at the house. I do have a couple orders that I want the comparison to read the logs. I would like to kind of dig into something when I get home. If you guys are still on in a half an hour.
All right, sounds good.
Does anybody want any pizza before I turn the oven on?
Yeah, please send some my way.
You have to come up and get it though. I mean, this is a pickup.
Every time you keep offering me stuff, and then
You know, there used to be a
you're like,
direct
"Yeah,
flight.
sure, come on up."
There used to be a direct flight right from Tampa to Ogdensburg on Allegiant, and then that airline got taken away from here because the Canadians, when the border shut down. But now I think there's a company called Breeze, a sister company of JetBlue.
Yeah.
And so we're working on them to come in this airport because we used to go into Tampa or Fort Lauderdale all the time. It was great. Direct flight, get down there in 3 hours,
Yeah,
pay
for sure.
$75.
That Breeze is interesting. I think they'll be one to keep an eye on. They're doing some stuff for sure. I've been hearing them pop up a few times recently.
Yeah. If you haven't invested in them, I would definitely invest in something with them.
When you send app notifications, can you send them to different locations? I guess I've never looked at that before. If I have 2 locations, or does it just go to everyone?
It goes to everyone. There exists some segmentation abilities, but it's not something that we've built the user interface out for just yet. So it's not actually possible to tap into it at the moment still.
So when you get like a dual order and it's like an accident or whatever and you have to cancel it, is there any way to not credit that person, or is that person, because I know some people are not being charged twice, they're just being charged the one time.
You said you cancel an order?
Yeah, because it's a dual order, or it's a, like, it'll be the same exact order for the same exact person. They only ordered once and they've only been charged once. But when you cancel the order, it credits them back like a $5 or whatever.
Well, I think, are you talking about like, well, are you talking about like if you highlight this order and hit cancel and you like give them the $5 credit?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, you would just clear this out.
Oh, okay.
And so you also, or you can just not check this box, right?
Okay.
So like if it's a duplicate order, I would just say like duplicate order, not check the box, hit yes, and you're good to go. If you check the box, then it will send the text and add the credit though.
Do we still pay a credit card fee when that happens? Because I think
no, it all gets reversed if the transaction is fully canceled out.
Okay.
I'm still waiting on a Tech 9 notification.
Yeah, I didn't get one either. It did say there was like 5 subscribers. I did check it on one signal, but I didn't get into it.
It looks set up.
Did you check on one signal to see if it was?
Yeah, it's good till next November.
Oh, I meant like you can view the logs and see if it went out, I think.
Oh yeah, I haven't since I should have sent. I just now thought about it. That we never got it. I see no sent or scheduled messages.
I guess I would probably
under delivery, right? Is where the analytics would be.
I believe so, yeah. The other thing I would check, I guess, is that like the keys and everything were right. I didn't double check those before I sent it. If you don't mind checking that, that'd be good.
On the site, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
You said these conferences are saved or whatever, so if we ever need to watch it over again, we can go over the questions.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with it. Anthony said something about it will be stored in the calendar event, actually, I believe.
Yep. Usually after they're done rendering, they just pin to the actual calendar event.
Nice.
If you're invited through the calendar.
Yeah, it looks like it's attached to last month's invite. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so the API key and the app ID are not matching. Am I good to change it? Do you think
Yeah, go
Windows-
ahead.
All right. All right, I think you should be good to try it again.
Alright, cool. Will do. And did you double check your settings too to make sure you do have push on? I actually didn't double check mine. I assume that I probably accepted it, but yeah, looks like mine's proper. Alright.
Hey, Devon, has there been any more update on, I don't know what the solution or the resolution was, but last week when we were talking about the minimum and the quantity for the alternate payment numbers, was that a ticket or was that something that is getting fixed?
It's a great question. I don't know. I don't think I was on a call where that got talked about last week myself, but I think maybe that was like Joe's Wednesday call or something.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, I apologize. Yes. Yep.
But I saw some ticket related to that today, I think, at some point, but I don't know if it's
Yeah.
exactly what it is that
He
you're.
put a ticket in. I remember now. It's coming back to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, that push notification is scheduled again. It should go out in about 4 minutes or so. 4 minutes and 1 second, actually.
What time does dispatch start in the morning? Or what time are they?
You're cutting in and out really bad, but I believe that it's 9.
Oh, Devon?
Yeah, you were cutting in and out real bad.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
think it's 9 though.
So it was connecting to my truck. So for dispatching, what time do they like start in the morning?
Yeah, I believe it's 9 a.m. Eastern time.
9
Is
a.m.
Emery
Okay,
on?
perfect.
I am.
I
That's
think it's
correct.
8.
Oh, Emery, I didn't know that you were on. Sorry.
Right? Don't we have?
Sorry, what was
I
that?
think we have agents that come in at 8. Support agents now.
Oh, right. Yeah, we have chat support starting at 8.
Okay.
Jeff, what's the alternate payment issue? It's not forcing the
So
requirements.
Yeah, underneath Canton Possum location, underneath the alt payment, there was a spot for like a minimum and a maximum. So when I put in a minimum of 6, which that's the least amount of college card numbers you can get, to a maximum of 16, they're still able to input 2 or 3 numbers or 5 numbers. I mean, they're going to a college that costs mommy and daddy or someone like $100,000 a semester, and they can't even read what's supposed to be done correctly. It drives me crazy. But it's allowing them to put in 5 digits or 4 digits or 2 digits instead of the minimum required, which would be 6.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay.
And then the other thing was weird too. We would have, and I have to look to see when they physically joined, but we had a couple since the new push for the update of the app, the customer app. When they order, one of the fixes that was pushed out within that update was the alternate payment with that required field box. And I would notice that there would be a college student that it would be his first order and go ahead and place the order, and then the college card is never ever entered in. So that leads me to believe that they never updated the app. So they must have had the app when it first came out, and they just never ordered. But I wish there was a more simpler way to push the update or force them that when they open up the app, just like Facebook or any of the other ones, when you click on it, it would automatically just update automatically. Because there's a lot of them that have yet to update the app, and it's frustrating.
I mean, we definitely have like a.
Well, and I know Susanna even put like a template on the front. So when they
Right.
open up the app, it'll say new update. But again, they're not reading. They're just clicking and then they're just getting out of it. They don't even update the app. Like it's just,
Yeah, I saw the pop up last time I opened your app, and I deleted and downloaded it just to be safe. But I think already, because I have auto updates on. That's the thing, is people that aren't having an update are probably never going to get it because they guess they just don't care. Because I mean, you can even do it for Facebook. I think, like,
Right.
I'm sure at least up into a certain version, unless, there's,
It'll
I'm
just
sure there are
start
versions.
breaking. I mean, yeah, you can just deny updates, and then it'll start breaking, and you just can't use it
Yeah.
because they've changed so much, and you just have to like update, right? So
Yeah,
it'd be
for
nice
sure.
if it was a feature where, like, okay, if you want to place an order, if you're not on the newest update, then you have to update first, right? And it takes literally it takes a couple of minutes, and that's it. It's just that's the only frustrating part. Like when I go into, like, I'm getting ready to open up Ithaca on Friday, and that's a whole new market. So anybody that downloads the app is going to have the latest one, which is good, But it's my existing ones. That's a pain. Yeah, I mean, we could make it like inoperable to where whenever they click anything, it forces them to like click a pop-up or something to update. Yeah. I mean, because when it comes down to it, when these updates are coming out, you guys are not just putting updates out there for the fun of it. These updates are to fix issues or new features that are included within the app. So we want the customers to be able to utilize all those features or anything new, or fixes bugs. And if they don't update the app, then they never get to experience. They don't get to experience all the cool things that are within it. Agreed.
Is there no like minimum version requirement with iOS or App Store or Play Store? Is that not a thing?
I mean, not like true minimum version requirements, no.
Gotcha.
Devin, did you see how that link takes you?
I did, yeah. It pops a browser over the top of the app. It's pretty stupid.
But you can make that browser go to a page with a pop-up that has the code, so they can maybe copy
I mean,
it.
you definitely could do that. Like, that is actually a potential positive aspect of it right now.
Right.
But
Yeah, like Jeff could put a page.
you can make a custom landing page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a great idea, Noah.
Yeah, that was my thought earlier. I mean, it's definitely not ideal, but now I'm wondering, like let's say Uber Eats sends me a promo push notification with a code in it. How does it work? I can't say I've ever really tracked that. Does it automatically apply it as a promo code that you can select in your cart, maybe?
Yes.
Gotcha.
But it gives you a time. Like they give you like a TikTok time. Like it goes down in time. Like I think the last one that I got, it was like a 30-minute coupon.
Oh,
Like
wow.
you have to use it in 30 minutes, which was kind of cool. I
Yeah,
guess,
that's some hardcore marketing strategy.
right?
I'm sure it works.
But I think, and I'm sorry if I'm breaking up for a second. I'll wait until I get my service back. Hold on. Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
All right. So the other thing too, and I didn't realize, I don't recall it, but on the coupon page or on the button on the main admin side, I know there's days, but is there a spot that I think I saw that there was actual time? Because we could do the
Yeah, for
same
sure.
thing. Because we could say, you know what?
Yeah, you can do time of day.
Oh yeah, so 4 to 6.
I mean, I've always thought it would be cool also to do like a big one that's like, the first X people or something like that kind of thing. Because that's actually what max uses is, right? Max uses per customer is, well, that one's pretty straightforward. It's max uses per customer. The other one, though, is like max total uses,
Yep. So I mean, we have that. It's just I didn't even think about that. We could do the same thing. Take your slowest time of the day. And
You're cutting in and out again, but yeah.
Sorry. That's what happens when you live on the border of Canada.
Apparently.
All right, there we go. Yeah, it's terrible. But yeah, that's good because you can utilize the time, especially during your slowest time of the week, like a Monday or Tuesday, or That's the reason why I was asking about breakfast because our morning is because I'm getting ready to open up for breakfast. And now that we're talking about this time coupon, maybe I can do one from like 9 to 11 and do like a 2 hour just to kind of start pushing morning orders in. 'Cause we don't open
Yeah.
until 11 o'clock. All right, I'm going to switch off here and then I'm going to log on the computer and then we'll, if it's still like this, I'll give you those couple orders so we could just kind of take a look at it.
All right, sounds good.
I'll be right back.
I'm actually just gonna step away for a couple minutes. I will stop sharing in case anybody else wants to take over. Um, I'll be back in a couple minutes if nobody else does anything while I'm away. But Emery, Anthony.
I'm at the grocery store right now, Emery.
Oh, perfect.
But
Well,
we
maybe
will
we
be
want to
back
grocery
for the
shop
next
with
4
you.
minutes.
Did you think about
I'm
that?
at Trader Joe's. I'm at Trader
Oh,
Joe's. I'm gonna
definitely.
trade.
Let's grocery shop
TJ.
together as a group. All right, I'll be back in a moment, guys. I know Emery said he was a bit busy earlier too, so you guys might be stuck without me, but I'll be back soon.
Thank you, Devon. Yeah, I am here. Happy to answer any questions. Just handling a couple things on the team, but still here for you guys.
We're all getting carried away over here without me. It seems like you guys made like 5 people leave while I was gone.
I went looking for you, man.
Wow, that's aggressive. Now I feel bad for leaving almost. I didn't mean to kill the vibes.
Oh, Jeff's back. Life of the party.
That's right. What up, everybody? Okay, all right.
Jeff actually is the life of the party. I mean, I'm sure there was no question about that, but
you know how long it took me just to bubble everything up and just like not like talk as much? It takes a lot for me to kind of hold it all in.
I'm sure.
So before I go to the other one, and I think Emery, I think we talked about it before today at 12:30, whatever time it was. The question I have right now is if I have a new driver and I create that driver and can I share my screen by chance or no?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Okay. All right. Hold on. I just gotta pick what screen. Okay, let's go to this one. So when I pick a driver, and I guess it doesn't really matter who, but and just say it's this driver. And I notice down here where it says orders driver override. So if I put in there for the first time drivers for one, does that mean that they won't get more than one order?
Yeah, it would mean that. That's correct.
Okay. Okay, that's going to help me out then, because these new drivers sometimes they'll get on and all of a sudden they'll get 2, 3, 4 orders and then they'll just get all freaked out and then they call me up and they said, "Hey, I can't do this." I'm like, "What do you mean?
Right,
You start at the top and you work your way down to the bottom." I mean, how
no,
hard?
for sure. That's a good idea though. I would definitely like that to get them started a little.
And then the penalty is that just I'm not even going to worry about that, because if my drivers don't do what they need to do, I just get rid of them, because I have a list of.
I mean, the penalty is actually for like if I was your driver, you would set my handicap to 100% because I'm amazing, which I realize is confusing, but like
That's
I'm
very
a
confusing.
great delivery driver, right? So 100%, basically by default, everyone gets 75% of their score.
Yeah. And then
So if you and I both scored 100,000, for example, then if I'm at 100%, I would get the full 100,000, but you would only get 75,000 and 75%. So it really should be like, I don't know, it shouldn't be called handicap at all, basically.
The backwards descriptions that we do.
I mean, it does say set higher to increase driver's chance of getting an order, set lower to decrease his chance at 0%. The driver will be disqualified from all orders.
But here's the thing, though,
surprisingly
right?
good job of explaining it, but it's just weird that it's called handicap because that's not how handicaps work, really.
It's like the bowling. When you go bowling, they got a handicap.
Yeah, I don't know, it should be called something else, probably.
So for an example, like I have a couple of them that are on a scheduled, so I make them prioritized, and then I also make them at 90%. So, but just say I had 6 of them in Potsdam and 3 of them are.
I wouldn't necessarily do prioritized, actually.
Okay.
Prioritized is like this really aggressive thing, actually. I wouldn't typically suggest it. It's definitely going to push drivers heavily to that. The reason we actually set that up was so that, like, some people, I don't know. I think it's kind of stupid, actually. But basically, like, some people will let their drivers, like, sit outside of town, right? Even during their shift. And, like, no matter how many times they discuss it with the driver, who's a quote-unquote great driver, they won't come into the delivery area until they have an order. So, like, that was actually set because people were like, these are great drivers. We need to pull them into the area. That was basically set up to do that, right? But that will definitely mess with your efficiency in general.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's going to, like, completely screw everything or anything like that. It would definitely depend also on, like, your market size and how far your regular distance, like, there's definitely a lot of variables at play there, but I would say rarely should prioritize driver be used because it's basically going to say if this guy's available, I'm going to send him, even if he's going 10 miles or whatever, right? It's based on a setting. So I guess if your location setting is low enough, then it wouldn't be a problem.
Gotcha. I only
Right.
so the reason why I put that as that one, and I think I also did Amanda Hall, same things because they are. I have four. I have five of them that are on a scheduled, where it's a guaranteed pay. So if they don't hit X, then I have to pay the difference.
Mhm.
And I figured, you know what? If these are the ones that are on, first of all, they're on all the time, so I still give them bonuses. But at the same time, I want to make sure that when they're on, they're getting orders. But
Yeah,
how many
and that is a
orders?
good example of when you would prioritize them, actually, I believe.
Okay,
That's a
yeah,
good
because
use of that.
the rest of them I don't. But how many orders? So let me ask this way: if I have four of them that are on, like right now, I think there's two on, and there's an order that comes in. Both people are set at 90% handicapped, and they're both marked as prioritized. Does it go? And I don't have spread the love on for this location. So at that point, does it go by the distance, whoever's closest to the restaurant?
It That's a great question. I don't actually know.
Okay.
My thought would definitely be yes, but I would have to look at it to see. We could
Okay.
look at an order actually, if you have an example.
Here's this stupid freaking college card. See, here we go. Anthony, is that you? No, that's not you. uh, this is so frustrating. Um, so there's Amanda. Oh, Omar is on. So Amanda, got the sticky rice one. So if she's got that one, where is Omar? Out of curiosity. Is that Omar? Oh, that's why, because he's all way in Canton. Okay.
Yeah, he's way out there.
So that makes. But if they're both in this same area, because in Potsdam, all of my restaurants are right on Market Street. All
Yeah,
of
it
them.
should go to the closest one that is available. That is
Okay.
a qualification though, right? It's not going to be like, oh, I'm going to give every order to this driver until they max out.
Yeah.
It will just give them they have to actually have 0 other orders for the prioritized mode to kick in, basically. So there is like that semi protection against the inefficiency. But
Okay. All right. I'm gonna mute this for a second so I can actually process this card,
okay.
so I don't get screwed over in a $94 order.
And no, maybe we should just drop in or if you can, just drop in a note or a ticket. Let's just change that from saying handicap to saying strength. Like it should say, driver
Yeah,
strength.
that would
The
make more
opposite.
sense. Are you still with us now? Do you have that? Not
I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention. Just change driver handicap to driver strength.
correct.
Okay.
Just a simple text change. You can give that to Michael.
Okay.
And that would be just on the driver profile. Is that the spot that it's at, or what?
Yes, that's the only spot that it's at.
Okay. Great. All right. Hold on just a second.
What is that at the top that says none, 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 none? Does anyone have any idea what that is? That's so weird.
Nice. That's beautiful.
I don't even know what it's supposed to display there, though. I mean, I thought
I
it
mean,
used
it's
to
got to
just.
be some CSS or some HTML or something, right?
That's very odd.
Hide
I
details.
don't think we've like
There are no
What are
changed.
you looking
details.
Oh, Jeff's screen. He's just over here, just adding in an order. And at the top of the cart, it just says none, 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 none.
Oh. In case anybody wants some credit card details.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna mention that part, but he's just doing that too.
Okay, well that was fun.
Sounds like it.
Oh my god. But see, that's the thing is like I have to, like I'm thinking like, is this even worth it? But because you have to be there when those card numbers come through. So I have a machine at my store. I have a machine at home. Jerry's got one. Our account manager has one. So when it comes through, we process it, and then if it doesn't go through right away, then we tell the customer either you pay with a different card or we cancel it.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm surprised that even like with Seaboard, they don't actually have a web site where you just go in and process the number, right? It would just make it easier instead of having these little credit card machines.
Yeah, for sure. That is definitely interesting.
Yeah. So again, so that's why, okay, so that's the reason why that will go on there. But in most cases, it's going to be based off the last thing. If they're all in the same area, then it's going to be based on whoever's closest to the physical location of the restaurant. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
It seemed like you had questions from this morning too, no?
Yes. Oh, crap. Yeah. Hold on just a second.
We don't have many folks left, but Angela, Jeremy, any questions? We appreciate you hanging out.
I got something that happened. It's not that big of a deal, but it did happen today. We might be able to go back and look at if you want.
We can look at that. 298-4664. Apparently, the order didn't go through. New driver put in the order. They asked for him to pay for it. Mm-hmm.
He apparently did, but dispatch didn't get back to him to tell him not to pay for it. So, like in time, if you will.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got it rectified and credited, but I didn't know if you can look at it, like what happened or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a little bit more challenging now that he's out, but we can definitely take a look at it and see. How did he pay? Did he just pay with his own money, or?
Yeah, I think. And so we're gonna
Okay.
we crediting him. It's at $20 like into his account. So
It's kind of confusing. Did you say that he chatted in, but we didn't reply to him soon enough to?
yeah, I
let him
looked
know?
at it. It was like a 10-minute delay.
For sure, appreciate that. I'll take a look.
Hey, Jeremy, do you always use cash or do you only do card?
I never do cash. That's why I was surprised, and it was only his second day.
Gotcha.
So I told him, and he didn't even hit me up. He hit me up like I don't know exactly what time this happened. This happened at like during lunch, and he didn't text me until 5:50 today. So
I mean, we responded in 2 minutes, so maybe he didn't see it, but he said, I'm going to have to pay for this myself. When he said no. 2 minutes. Then he did say too late, but I mean, it's not a very long time there, really. So
yeah, I mean, hopefully he can learn from that scenario.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe
well, and that's what I said.
wait a
Like
couple extra minutes.
I already talked to Whitney, and she credited him and all that, you know. And so we're good on that. It was just.
I mean, do you guys even pay any of your restaurants
in cash?
I mean, yeah, or like on pickup. Aren't you guys all partner?
We're all 100% partnered.
Got you. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Like my suggestion, if this is something that can happen with this restaurant, would be like go in here, hit quick info, go to the restaurant, and then basically put like here, like they may ask you to pay. If they do, don't pay. We are on an account base, like something like that.
Hold
if
on.
you have problem restaurants.
Is this is them directly?
What do
They're
you mean?
still on email. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is them. And they are still on email.
Well, I got to talk to my admin that I asked to make sure we were all on Order Logic.
But also, just these driver pickup
Yeah,
instructions. If you have problem restaurants, I have no idea if this is a problem restaurant or if this keeps popping up. But if it is, I would definitely suggest putting those notes in there.
It was the first time at this restaurant, and we do have driver or pickup notes on other restaurants that not even problem restaurants, but it's just like, hey, this is where the food will be, go to the end of the bar.
Yeah, for sure. I do typically suggest having that for every restaurant, actually. That's something that pops up every once in a while. I mean, you guys that are all on this call have been on a million calls with me, so you've probably heard it a million times. But yeah, I mean, driver pickup instructions can just change the game for a driver because it makes you so much more comfortable with where do I go, what should I do from right out the gate, basically. So highly advise using those.
The new app too, I think what Anthony was saying, and I had to take a couple orders. I noticed on a new driver app, it's much clearer than on the current version app, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure. It's super clear now.
My kids just came in here and shot me with a friggin' Nerf gun.
Nice.
No, it's not nice.
And what just ran out?
Yeah. Came in and popped me. Oh,
And he caught you lacking. Need your own.
yeah.
For sure. You gotta be prepared for that.
We got him this really cool drone, Nerf gun, like a Nerf drone. That's going to be interesting.
Can you guys hear me, Devon?
We can now, yeah.
All right. No, I was saying I think 2 minutes is a pretty long time to respond to a driver, though. Still,
I mean,
it isn't. I don't know.
I
I mean,
definitely don't think so. No.
okay.
I would say like maybe beyond that, I would be like, yeah, that's definitely on the edge. But I mean, it depends, I guess, on like what other duties are, what time of day it is, like. But I would say typically no.
I'm not talking about what duties are, what time of day it is. I'm just thinking if a driver's driving and, or if they are asking a question, what's a reasonable amount of time to answer it, regardless of the time of day or whatever, whoever's staffed or whatever. But
I mean, I can tell you this: that is no drivers with individual dispatchers are getting responded to anywhere near that fast. That is very, very good.
okay, good.
Like if I yeah, it's very hard to respond that fast actually. Definitely the faster the better. Don't get me wrong. But
Hey, Emery.
Hey, Jeff.
So, you know how we were talking about those two orders? Do you think that would be something to kind of talk about in this call, pull it up and actually see the logs, or do you think it's not?
Yeah,
worth it?
you're talking about the Canton
Yes.
fiasco. Yeah, we can look at it.
All right,
Really,
all
I
right.
believe. I mean, we spoke on it earlier, but I think that was just a bundle that should have been bundled. Honestly.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, maybe if it's a setting, but let me grab that order number.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if anybody's going to know, it's going to be Devon. He's
Yes,
the almighty.
Devon is the king of
I don't know about all
in
that.
investigation.
Yeah, for real.
For real, for real.
I mean, in a nutshell, we had a discussion about this same thing.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, if you want to bring it up, we can.
So Devon, there's two order numbers. It's 297-3982. And let me know when you're ready for the other one.
297-398. I'm locked into this market. That's why. What are we looking at? That they should have been bundled? Assuming that's yes. Go ahead with the second one.
Yeah. So 297-3982 and then 297-4185. Oh, wait a second. Sorry. Oh my God. No, not those. I'm looking at the wrong message.
Okay.
I apologize.
I was going to say those order numbers seem pretty far apart.
Yeah. I'm
They
having.
bundled.
I didn't even.
The
Okay,
other
here
one
we
you gave
go.
me is from the 12th. Is that
Here
right?
we go. 297-0947. Okay, let me know when you're ready for that one. The next one.
Oh, okay. So I'm not using the other one either.
You're using this one here that you have pulled up, and then you're going to also use.
Go ahead.
297-1007. And just to let you know, the one that ends in 0947, I physically assigned that one to Omar.
So you're saying it's your fault?
Not that one. No, the second one is AD's fault.
Okay.
So I guess the question is that 0947, the one you're looking at right now, the left one, that one was assigned first, and then the one to the right came in afterwards, and they were
That's
both,
the issue. It doesn't work like that.
but they were both going to the
It
same address.
pre-spots bundles.
Pre-spots. Okay.
Yeah. So it doesn't like and we've talked about this a lot of times actually, but that is the reason it didn't get bundled basically. It
But
is
but why would AD send it to Al where he is in Potsdam and Omar's on the way to the left order, and they're both going to the same exact address? And
yeah,
he's
for sure.
got and McDonald's and Burger King are or is that, I think one is McDonald's, one is Burger King, but their restaurants
Gotcha.
are within like 50, 55 yards, maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe we could put some. Well, no, this was a while. You'd sent him that order like I think 5 minutes prior, and he just had an order that wasn't accepted, so it basically threw him out immediately. That is what happened. So hard to say if he would have accepted that order, what we would have done with it. It's an interesting one. I mean, we've definitely seen this become an issue multiple times.
Wait a second. Hold on. So that order there, when you're highlighting where it says driver has an order that's not accepted, is that when I sent it to him because he was driving to Canton? So it could have been
Yeah,
where,
most likely. That's what I was saying. I mean, maybe we could put some kind of limit on this that says like driver has an order that's been assigned to them for more than X minutes that is not accepted. But the thing is that like this used to be an issue, and I don't know like what market this popped up in a lot or where it was an issue or why we did this. But like all of these things were developed from very real life scenarios like this one. Um, and like it would be that it would go to the driver and the driver would have another order that's not accepted, and then they get picked for a second order. And instead of just kicking one order down the road because this driver ghosted us, it would kick two orders down the road, right? So I don't know. Like that is the situation. If anybody else has any thoughts or opinions on this, I'm definitely happy to hear it. It wouldn't have been an issue if it was a bundle. So that part is good.
Right.
Then realistically, it's really just like an additional bundler mode, I think, that like picks up orders that there's got to be additional qualifications, so it's not this simple, right? But like picks up orders that are going to the same address that come in within some sort of period of time, I guess.
Would there have been a dispatcher alert because of the same address?
I would have thought so, actually, and that is what I would have expected to kind of catch this one on the back end myself. Would be like a duplicate dispatcher alert, and now that those also have order numbers, it wouldn't be like, oh, let me figure out what order that was and go find it, right? It should have actually been much more clear that this was a good double to potentially be caught manually. But obviously, I don't know what the dispatcher situation was at that point in time either.
Or timing as well?
yeah, because I mean, the only reason why I knew about this one is in GroupMe, they were like, anybody in Canton, and that's when Omar said, "Oh, I'm on my way to Canton." So that's
Right.
when I caught it, and I gave that order to Omar, and he stopped at Burger King, grabbed that one that was assigned to Al. He grabbed
Yeah.
that one, and then went out maybe 70, 80 yards, and then grabbed the Indian Royal, that original, the one that I assigned to him. And then he went ahead and deliver it. And they were actually friends. So they both ordered and they both waited for him outside. So it was pretty, I don't know. There was a few examples like I had of that. So I don't know what we can do if it's a setting on my side that I can mess with, or if it's just one of those things that it's you catch it when you catch it type of thing. I don't know.
Right. No, I do. I definitely think it's a good example.
I mean, from a bundler perspective, I guess you could look at the settings, but you run into like the dilemma of if I, tailor the parameters to make sure that this would have been a bundle, will this bundle, worse things otherwise within the market? That's really the risk you run.
Yeah, and I mean, I do still just like, to me, there definitely is an emphasis that needs to be put on bundling things from the same restaurant or going to the same place, right?
Right.
And so we're already working on some bundle updates that are definitely helpful. But it still does just become this thing that like orders have to be like pre-spotted as bundles. So like once we're very comfortable with the way that bundles work, then we should be able to work those bundles back into maybe one of those orders has been assigned and the second order needs to decide that it should be bundled with the first order, even though the first one's already assigned and they're not both sitting, right? So I would just say like I think that this will be solved in the future, but there's definitely like some progression that we've got to work through here.
Perfect.
I don't see an immediate way to solve it myself. I do actually think it's possible that if he would have accepted this, he would have gotten it, but I can't really prove that. So
Wait, so you're saying that Omar got it the first time? Oh, that was Samantha. Someone else
no,
got it.
Omar was immediately disqualified. The person that got it the first time was Alan McGee.
Yeah. We try not to have them, obviously, but we try not to have drivers go 12 miles if we already have a driver out that way.
Yeah, I mean,
Especially
looks
if
like
it's
he was. Well, no, actually, I can tell you that he wouldn't have gotten this. So that's the thing too, is that if this isn't spotted as a double, it's looking at it as everything, right? Which is that he's got to drop this off still, then he's got to go to this pickup, then he's got to go to this drop off, then he's got to go to this pickup. So his relevant distance is 13 miles, and Al's relevant distance is 9.3. Now, if this knows it's a bundle, right, then yeah, of course it's fine for Omar to get it. But even in that situation, it would have had to have been like it's looking at it as a separate situation entirely.
Gotcha.
And it would have had to be spotted as a bundle for Omar to get it, it looks like.
Gotcha. I thought the bundle kicked in automatically if two restaurants are within a close proximity and it's going to the same address. But that makes sense. And again, the only reason I caught is because it grouped me, and I was like, "Oh, let me see," and then I just gave it to Omar since Al didn't want to go to Canton, and then I didn't blame him for not going, but it's fine.
Been tough from management on down to the.
All right, I did note those down too because I do think they're a nice example of an after the fact bundle, if you will. Whatever that means. It's a term I made up.
Just go with it.
It makes perfect sense, Devo. I got you.
All right, it's official. We've coined the term. We will use that moving forward. Stage 3 of bundler after the fact bundles.
So what's really weird is that unless that's Jerry, is that Jerry that's in here?
Nah, it's probably another version of you stuck out there in some time
Yeah,
warp.
probably.
That one's still cleaning the restaurant. Let's see here. Samantha brought an issue to my attention. She didn't want to ask you on the call, I guess, but I'm gonna look anyways.
Oh snap! I didn't even see Sam was in here. What's up?
I was just lurking. Sorry.
Hey, that seems to be the standard for most participants, so
That is true.
we can't tell if they're happy or sad.
We haven't tried. Could you tell me more about what the issue is here, Sam?
Yes. So when you look at the status changes, everything looks aligned. The delivery, all the times were fine, but that SmartCom timestamp looks
Yeah, you're
to
talking about
be,
this one.
yeah.
It does seem to be off by a couple hours.
Yeah, that's definitely weird.
I wonder if you go to the customer's profile in the communication, if it will show the right or the wrong time.
That's
'Cause-
weird. So
Yeah.
I'm first wondering this, I guess. So are they 2 hours behind Eastern?
Yeah, they're Montana. They should be Mountain Time.
Okay. So the driver was arrived at 8:05 on route at 8:10. Delivered at 8:11, which means they were actually definitely not on route at 8:10. I do think it probably is a timestamp error, but because there's no other actions on this order that occur at that time. But at 8:05 they do go on route, so they actually did go on route here. They just went on route a second time. I think this is a good order to have Nick take a look at probably, but I do believe that it's a timestamp issue.
Cool. And you said we can check the actual like text log to the customer to make sure it's on their time that they got it.
It's definitely slightly more challenging, but I will try to do that, yes. Let's keep this one in mind for Nick tomorrow. Maybe bring it up on the morning call. Let's see here.
Can't wait.
Devon, can I add to
See what
that?
you did there, Emery? Yes, you can.
At the bottom where you see the times for the status change, on our orders, they're correct. They are our Pacific Standard Time. But on our board here, on our dispatch board, where you look under the drivers and there's like the order number type where it says fax or smart confirm, and then restaurant, and there's a time, it's like the communication where it's sending it to the tablet or their POS.
Right.
That time is actually off on our system by 2 hours.
Are your settings under the dispatcher are properly set to your time zone here? I would definitely double check that, as that is usually what modifies that kind of stuff.
I will do that. Okay.
If that is still an issue, though, timestamps are a really fun problem to solve, but they're very annoying when they're wrong too, and they don't make sense to you. So, I mean, definitely we would like to get that solved if it's a continuous issue for you. But yeah, just verify that setting first for me if you don't mind.
Okay. I will take a look.
Hey, Devon, do you guys have any? When does dispatch stop at nighttime? Is it 11 p.m. Eastern or midnight?
I believe it's actually like 2 or 3 a.m. depending on daylight savings time. Since we
really?
We have a client in Hawaii, so.
Oh, okay then. So if I want to stay until like
crazy ideas, Jeff.
If I want to till like 1 o'clock in the morning and do like a bar special or a drunk special or something like that, I can, especially in a college town.
Yeah, just require that they must prove that they're drunk in order to order, and then
that's what I was thinking.
It'll be a great experience for everyone, guaranteed.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's why you need to come up here. You could be the driver, Devon, from 11 o'clock at night to 1 o'clock in the morning.
Hard pass.
Cash only.
I'm checking those official timestamps as well, for you, Sam. Just doing it on a different screen.